Hi there, you're listening to the Guitar Speak podcast, my show where I interview leading guitarists and guitar figures from all around the world. My name is Matt Wakeling, and thank you so much for joining me. Now today I speak to Australian guitarist Scotty Burford, who recently broke the Guinness Book of World Records record for marathon guitar playing for 5 days and 5 hours. All in the name of charity, raising money for a fantastic organisation called Musicians Making a Difference. Scotty gives us the behind the scenes rundown of that incredible effort. And more than that, we talk about Scotty's career as a guitar player, carving out a living in Sydney, Australia. All right, let's get straight to my conversation with Scotty. Here we go. Scotty Burford, welcome to the Guitar Speak podcast.
Thank you very much, Matt.
Mate, we met under strange circumstances. You, a few months ago, you were sitting for the longest solo guitar performance under the Guinness Book guidelines. Is that right? Is that the right title?
Yeah. It's the longest guitar playing marathon.
Okay. Yeah.
Is their title, but yeah, that's what it was in essence. Yeah.
Cool. Now that's like 5 days of guitar playing, essentially 128 hours, something like that.
It was actually 125 that I went for, so it's 5 days and 5 hours.
Wow, that's killer.
Yeah.
First question: why? What inspired you to do this?
Look, it was actually for a charity.
Mm-hmm.
That was the primary reason. A charity that I really like their values. They're a charity. It's a charity called Musicians Making a Difference,
mm-hmm.
and they use music and other creative art forms to work with kids and help them work through and express the issues that they're facing through their life, whether it be family breakdowns, relationship breakdowns, kids working through addiction issues, anything like that.
Sure. Yeah.
I really liked what they were on about. I've done a few things for charity in the past, and there's some charities that and movements like Movember that I'm really passionate about, but I'm just another guy, I'm no one particularly special. And so I thought, if I could do something a bit crazy, more people might actually take a bit of notice of what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So, I can easily say, say Movember. I'll grow a mo for Movember. Mm-hmm. Everyone thinks it's a joke because it takes me 6 months to get one anyway. My facial hair grows so slowly. But and I might raise $100 or $200 or something like that, which is great. And I'm not knocking those sort of efforts, but I thought I'd really like to do something a bit bigger than that. And so, this crazy idea formed in my head probably about 10 months ago. I started kicking it around, going, what could I do that would make much more of an impact? And allow me to, do something better than what I normally could.
Yep. Yeah, well, you certainly got a lot of attention and exposure through this for sure. Can you talk me through the guidelines? How does it work? So you got the old record was, how many hours was the record you're breaking?
The official record.
Yeah.
And this still stands at the moment. Guinness can take quite some time to actually approve a record.
Okay, yeah.
I believe I know his first name's Dave. I think his name is Brown. I believe the gentleman's name is Dave Brown. He's an Irish gentleman. He set the record in 2011 he played for 114 hours and 6 minutes and maybe 30 seconds. Anyway, about that. That's 114 hours. We'll go with that and a little bit more. So Guinness can take quite some time as well to approve a challenge. So they took about 4 or 5 months to actually get back to me to say, yes, this is on. When I applied for the record, I had to state what record I was hoping to beat, which was Dave Brown's record. About 30 minutes after I got the email from Guinness, I just did a quick search online to see if anyone else had actually attempted that in the previous 6 months. And a Canadian gentleman had 2 weeks earlier just played for 124 hours and 30 minutes, raising money for the Canadian Cancer Council. Fantastic cause.
Yeah.
So, for a little bit I thought, oh, bugger. What am I going to do? And I thought, well, I'll have to just beat him. And so I had to change my starting time and ending time a little bit. make a few adjustments mentally. I think that was sort of the hardest thing in some ways, because I'd gone, okay, I could do this. I'm finishing at this time, and I had that set in my mind. That's what was going to happen. And suddenly I went, I'm going for another 10 hours now. That's going to be a little bit more difficult, but then I just adjusted my mindset, I guess, with that.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
Went, okay, this is how it's going to happen. So, yeah. So that was the record. With their conditions, where do we start? You must play continuously. For every 60 minutes that you perform one of the ultramarathon feats for, you earn a 5-minute break. That can be accrued over a period of time. So basically, 22 out of every 24 hours, you're actually doing whatever. So I was playing guitar for that long.
Yeah.
There can be no more than a 30-second break between each song.
Yep.
Songs can't be repeated within a 4-hour period.
Yep.
Yeah, everything I played was documented. I had witnesses there the whole time, and the whole thing was videoed as well for evidence. So fairly stringent with all of that. So within that 2 hours across the day that I had a break, that's where I had to sleep or go to the toilet or eat or get changed.
Yeah.
I didn't change my clothes that often during the week, to be honest,
Sure.
which made me feel quite gross. But yeah, it was tricky with all of that, managing all of that.
Sure. Now with the breaks, you got to, I think you would accrue some time. Like if you didn't take a break every hour, you could accrue those minutes, and then.
That's what I did. So at the start, I can't actually remember now. I think I started and I played for 9 hours straight up without a break.
Wow.
Then I had a quick break.
Yeah.
And I know, like on one day, I played on the Wednesday. I played for 13 hours straight because I was trying to get up enough time so that I could run across the road to the gym from where I was to use their shower. So that sort of thing was important. And with eating and things like that as well. I actually had like a plate of food near me with just like snacks that I could throw in my mouth because I could eat and keep playing.
Sure. Yeah.
So I had little things like that. That was also challenging, and I also had like a bottle of water. But I had to really monitor how much I drank. For example, so I didn't want to go to the toilet.
Bathroom.
Yeah. Because under the Guinness conditions as well. Once if you start that hour, you must do the full 60 minutes to get that 5 minutes.
Okay.
Otherwise, it doesn't count. So I had to make sure that I did that. So like on the Wednesday, I had a couple of other challenges on the Wednesday morning with some severe finger issues on my left hand.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had a break there, which was not planned for. So I used up some of my time as well. So that's why I ended up doing playing for 13 hours straight to accrue enough time so I could have a shower, have a sleep. I didn't actually sleep for longer than 20 minutes at any stage through that week.
Wow.
And sometimes it was like, I've got 5 minutes, I'm laying down for 2 minutes now. Please, I'm just going to put my head on a pillow.
Yeah. And
then someone would just pull me basically up and I'd just jump back up and start playing again. So all of that was monitored very, very carefully, closely. And I can't say enough about the support I had from other people, people coming in, but also people that were, on my team. It was fantastic that they all got behind it.
Yeah. So tell me, the whole event was hosted at Engadine Music. Yeah. What was your team? I met the night I came. I think on the Wednesday night, and
I do remember that it was a Wednesday night. Yeah,
or Thursday morning, whatever it was. There was a guy from Engadine. Was that Luke? Was that one of the guys?
Yeah, Luke actually works as he's their guitar repairer.
Yeah.
Fantastic young guy. He was so supportive of the whole thing. So I think, from memory, he actually stayed with me for like 4 days.
Okay.
He was fantastic. So he gave up working to be with me as much as I needed him to be there, which was just terrific.
Wow.
And he's just got, he's got the heart of a champion, that guy.
Yeah, and he was doing stuff like he was documenting every song, and he was like counting down your 30 seconds between songs to make sure you didn't go over when
Yeah.
you're, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So
Okay.
there was Luke, and to be honest, I've lost track of how many people were doing that.
Yeah, sure.
So I had people with me the whole time documenting everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, Luke was probably a fairly obvious one with that, but there were always two people doing things like that with me through the whole time.
Yeah, cool.
Which was fantastic, and I can't thank those people enough with that. So and it was I do remember Wednesday night when you guys came in. That was actually a huge lift when I saw Michael Daltrey's face. I went, that really lifted me when you guys walked in then, because I was starting to really struggle at that point. I had a terrible day. My fingers had actually split earlier on in the day, and I had a massive blister on my thumb. So I had another guy that actually works in the store. He ended up pouring super glue over my fingertips just to try and keep them together.
Oh man! So this is your fretting hand, obviously.
Yeah, which was really awkward. Then I also had a really big blister on my thumb from just rubbing on the back of the neck so much. So actually Luke cut up a sponge and he gaffered that around my thumb, which made it really hard to play as well. So, and I think when I had the super glue on my fingers, it was really awkward to play also because I couldn't really feel the strings.
Right.
And it was such a messy job. It was just like, okay, I'm taking a 5-minute break right now.
Yeah.
Just start pouring super glue and hold my fingertips together because this is the only way I can think of getting through it. So I just had big lumps of super glue on my fingers for a few days, which was, wasn't ideal. It didn't stop the pain. It really hurt. And I think by late Thursday night, going into early Friday morning, I was really struggling with that even more than Wednesday night.
Okay. Because the finish line was the finish line like Friday evening or like afternoon-ish?
To beat the Canadian guy, it was around 5:15 on the Friday night.
Okay. Yep. Okay.
Gotcha. So we got to that, and then I beat him by about 30 minutes. That was sort of my goal. I thought if I'm going to get to that point, I might as well go for another 30 minutes. And actually, by then I really picked up on the Friday afternoon. I think I could see the home stretch and something clicked in my brain, and I went, I'm okay now. I going into that last little bit was quite good, and I actually felt really quite good. That last few hours were really great. Actually, a lot of people came in from the community, and I had people coming in from the community all week as well. To support me, and some of my family turned up and things like that, and some of my very dearest and oldest friends were there. So awesome. That was fantastic. That really helped me kick on for the last few hours. And I guess, look, with all this too, I knew that for me to have the biggest possible impact on behalf of the charity, I really had to finish. If I had have gone, I've done 30 hours, a few people had sponsored me by that stage, but I knew I had to get to the end to really have the impact that I hoped for. So that was a big driving factor, even when I was going, oh, man, I want to quit. I knew I didn't feel I could let anyone down, and I thought I would have if I had have stopped, before the end.
Sure, yeah, I can see that'd be a big driver. You've mentioned your fingers. Was there any other physical cost from playing that long?
I found my right hand started to swell up a little bit as well.
Yeah.
I think I would hate. I haven't watched the videos of very much of it at all. I would hate to hear my playing from probably Wednesday on. I think it would be awful, but because I play a lot of fingerstyle guitar, the first couple of days I was playing more intricate and interesting things for myself as well. So I was playing a lot of things like Tommy Emmanuel and Chet Atkins pieces. And I used a thumb pick. And around Wednesday morning, when my fretting hand, which is my left hand, started to have some issues with splitting and everything else, I noticed that my right hand as well, I played so much with the thumb pick for a couple of days, my thumb was starting to swell up, and it was really hard to keep it moving. and as I lost lost the ability to feel the strings, I just abandoned trying to play any sort of fingerstyle pieces altogether.
Sure.
And I think at one stage I was strumming with my index finger because I couldn't really hold a pick properly anymore either.
Okay. Yeah.
Without dropping it. So there was that. I think towards the end, I was having some issues with cramps in my leg.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think probably by about 4 days in, because I hadn't really eaten properly for that period of time, I'd been eating such minimal amounts of food, and I was really monitoring my water. Had a few issues with that as well, with just being dehydrated. So I had to be very careful with that. And then there are times where, to be honest, I have no idea what's happening. I've looked at the logbook and gone, I can't even remember playing these songs. I can't remember these people being there.
Right.
So late Thursday night, going into it like midnight and early morning, the guys that I was with then were really worried I was actually about to pretty much drop over and die.
Right.
I'd started hallucinating because I was so tired.
Yeah.
And there were signs up around the shop that were moving on walls and things like that and blending into each other.
Okay.
I remember that.
Far out, man.
Yeah, and apparently at one stage, around 4 a.m. Friday morning, I was playing with a guy named Dane, who I actually didn't know before that. He was a community member. He came in to help me by just sitting there with me, and he was playing, and I was playing with him. Which was just wonderful, going back to the terms and conditions, I could actually have people come in and play with me throughout the whole challenge, which was great because that gave me a lift as well. As long as I was playing, that's all that really mattered with that. So a number of people came in just to help me get to the end, which was fantastic. And that was one of the highlights for me, really, was seeing music bring people together like that.
Yeah, absolutely. The night, if I can just jump in, the night I came, that Wednesday night, it was just a coincidence that Mike Daltrey was going on the same night. We didn't mean to arrive at the same time.
Okay.
But we did. It was cool. So I got to catch up with Michael, which I don't usually do. He brought a mate of his who's a great muso whose name escapes me, but met him. That was cool. Obviously met you when I got up for a little bit of a jam.
Yep.
Later on, which was cool. Well, it's funny. I wasn't sure if I should speak to you or not because you were looking pretty tired. This is like 2 a.m. And then we ended up...
Was it that late you were there? I couldn't remember.
I think so. I left at about...
Yeah.
I got there at 11. I think I left at about 3 or 4 or something.
Okay.
I don't know. I can't exactly remember. But yeah, we had a great conversation. Then you went off and had a nap, and there were some great people. And I got to meet Gav Moore, which was super cool because Gav and I, we've known each other electronically for a while.
Okay.
One of those sort of friendships, and then, to meet him in person. And I know he jammed with you on quite a few of those nights as well.
Yeah, well, I can't say enough about Gav. I've known Gav for a few years, and he's just a beautiful man. He is an absolute champion, and he's a engineer for Qantas. He's on shift work there, and he came in at around 3 or 4 on Friday morning when I was really struggling. And he actually talked me through a couple of hours. He told me if I didn't finish, he was going to kill me. As mates do.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, I can't say. I'm so appreciative of everyone that came in and helped. But Gav in particular was a big reason why I actually finished because Friday morning was looking pretty bad with that sort of thing. And apparently, I was standing on my feet and I was asleep. But still moving my hands. Yeah. I was having like micro sleeps and things like that. And someone said that I can't remember what song we were playing. It was probably something like it was at the point where we were playing, Knocking on Heaven's Door and Mustang Sally and those sorts of things with 3 chords that everyone knows.
Yeah, yep.
And apparently we were playing. I think it was Knocking on Heaven's Door. Apparently I was asleep. They said they could actually hear me snoring, but my hands were still moving.
Oh man, that's like we've all you're a working musician. I want to talk about your life as a guitarist separate to this as well in a moment. But we've all had those gigs where you feel like you're playing the songs in your sleep, but you've taken it to a whole new level.
It's like the only thing I liken it to, if you're driving home late from a gig sometimes, like this panics. I get a bit panicky with this, but I'll be driving home and suddenly I'll go, oh, I'm 20 kilometres closer to home than I thought I was. What happened? All that road section in the last 20 minutes, or last 20 Ks or whatever, I wasn't paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
I've just gone on autopilot. Or I've done some gigs where playing at 1 or 2 in the morning, you're starting to get pretty tired and go, oh, I didn't realise we just played that song. It's over. Where did that go? This was kind of that, but on a different level again.
Yeah, man, I'm never complaining about 4 sets ever again after meeting you. Oh, man. And what guitars were you playing? You had a few guitars hanging around when I saw you.
Yeah, the guitar I mostly played, and this wasn't necessarily the plan. There were a couple of hiccups that happened just before I was about to start.
Uh-huh.
So I own a Martin D18. Yeah. And I played that most of the time. Mm-hmm. Lovely guitar. I also have a Cole Clark 12-string. I think I only played that for a few hours on the first day, and then I went, oh, man, this is too hard.
Yeah.
When I went back to play it later in the week, I was like, oh, man. And the particular Cole Clark that I've got, it's an amazing guitar, but the neck on it is like a cricket bat. Uh-huh. It's actually designed for 12 to 54 gauge strings as a 12 string, so it's a very heavy guitar. So if I play that at a gig, I generally won't play it for longer than one set if I've got it strung up like that.
Sure.
Because it's a little bit challenging. I do play a lot of acoustic stuff at gigs, but that one I find if I play it for an hour or two, that's about enough for that guitar.
Yeah.
So I played that. I have a Godin nylon string. One of them multi-act guitars. I can never remember the model.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a rosewood one. That's all I remember. Lovely guitar as well. And I played that at times because the nylon string's sort of a little bit softer.
Yeah.
Gave my fingers a bit of a break. And I played my Strat a little bit too. I didn't play a lot of electric though.
Uh-huh.
Through the thing. And probably the Martin D18 was the one I played the most.
Mm-hmm.
Which is lovely guitar to play.
Yep. Did you do anything with tuning or string gauge or anything to make it a little easier on yourself?
I had the Martin. I started off. I'd actually done gigs sort of 3 nights before coming into it, and I'd put some new strings on the Martin on the Thursday afternoon.
Okay, yep.
And so when I started playing that on the Sunday, and I played that for about a day, and then I actually got someone else to restring it to 10s. I normally have 12 to 54s, I think, would be on there.
Okay, yep.
And I had someone restring it, and I put 10s on, actually, as my fingers started to get a bit sorer. I think with the electric, I left that. I normally use 10 to 46 gauge on the Strat. Didn't change that. The nylon strings on the Godin, I actually had the lowest tension classical guitar strings you can get.
Okay, yep.
Which I once again, I would not normally play those things if I was doing a gig or recording. It was just, let me get through this.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, another guitar I did have, but I didn't play it that much either, was my Les Paul, which I play slide on.
Oh, yeah.
I've got that set up for playing slide, so I thought I did have that a couple of times where I thought, okay, I can give my fingers a break and I've just got to hold the slide.
Yeah.
So I was playing with a few people doing some songs where I was just playing that, which that helped my hand have a bit of a rest.
Yeah, sure.
Obviously with just the slide. So, I played that one, but I didn't play that one very much from memory.
Yeah.
But I could be lying because I can't remember periods of it. So.
Oh, man. Yeah. Especially as the event went on, you seemed to pick up a lot of interest through the different media. There was, I know ABC Radio got in on it, some of the mainstream, commercial radio stations. I saw you on The Project on Channel 10 and stuff like that. Guitar Play magazine. Once you'd finished, a lot of these big international players were sharing posts and things about you as well. Tell me about that. Tell me about conducting interviews as you're trying to play and that kind of thing.
Look, some of that was hard. I must say, Lindsay McDougall from the ABC / Frenzal Rom.
Yeah.
Was a huge supporter,
Mm-hmm.
and he's just another champion of a guy. He was wonderful. He really got behind it. He came in, I think 3 times during the week, actually. So he came in on Thursday night and played with me for hours, but he'd been in there on Sunday, and he came in another time, right? And we played a few things together for an ABC radio show. I did a few interviews when I was still playing, and someone was just holding a phone up to me. So I could talk. There was a local federal politician that I didn't know even existed before then. He was trying to weasel his way in on the whole thing. And they kept on, he and his advisors kept on trying to tell me to stop, can I have a break so we can have photos and do an interview with you for our newsletter for what's happening in Sutherland Shire.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I can't give you 5 minutes, guys. Please stop talking to me. I actually ended up having people were trying to get them away from me.
Right, wow.
Because they were pestering me so much.
Okay.
At one stage. But afterwards, I was amazed. I didn't really see anything that was happening during that week with that. I knew the ABC had been very supportive, and I'd been in the ABC on the Friday before I started with Robbie Buck and Lindy Harmer.
Oh, okay, yeah, the morning show, cool.
Yeah, they actually got me to play for 2 hours continuously while they talked over the top of my playing, which that was a great experience. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
So I did that, and the Illawarra Mercury, which is a newspaper in Wollongong, they were very supportive as well.
Yeah.
Desiree, who's their entertainment writer, was very, very supportive of the whole thing. And she was wonderful in covering it, and she spoke to me afterwards as well. That was, I really appreciate her support in that. So that was all really good. When I got home, people started messaging me going, we found you here, and we found you there on the net. And so suddenly I found there were stories in Japan, I think Finland, trying to judge by the topography. I couldn't read it, but apparently it was about me, and there was a photo of me there, so I assumed that's what it was.
Uh-huh.
A friend of mine was flying out from Melbourne overseas, and they were in the Qantas lounge, and that was their lead story in the Qantas lounge. There was this massive photo of me across their the big TV they had.
That's awesome.
The photo looks absolutely shocking. I hadn't slept for about 4 days by the time someone from the ABC took the photo. Yeah. I think I look about 110 in it. It's so bad. So that was really cool. And I've had people from England have actually emailed me from I can't think of what they're called now. In Australia, there's the Australian Music Association, who are like the all the retail and wholesale music industry. Their equivalent actually emailed me. They'd found out about it, which was really, really great. Other places throughout America and so forth. It was really cool to see myself on the Guitar Player magazine website.
Yeah.
And on Guitar World website.
That's cool.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
Actually, Gav was in the photo with me.
Yeah.
And I spoke to him afterwards. We make it into we make it into the Guitar Player magazine website, and we're playing a Wiggles song in the video they put up.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, we actually had one of my cousins is a musician, and she's had a long history with the Wiggles when they were the Cockroaches, etc.
Oh, and,
Gav and I were playing. But we started getting requests from people as well, which was really cool. So someone was looking at the Facebook page and going, "Someone wants you to do this. Someone wants you to do that." Someone requested a Wiggles song, so we toot chugga chugga big red car. And I have it on good authority that the fields from the Wiggles fame have actually watched it.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's what ended up being on the Guitar Player magazine website.
Well, there you go.
Which was quite funny. Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah, that was. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Oh no! I was going to say, do you remember the last song you that got you over the line?
Sorry, the last song?
Yeah, what did you wrap up with?
We played Ziggy Stardust. I'd already decided that beforehand.
Okay, yep.
I've got a couple of really good mates that I knew I wanted to be there at the end with me.
Yep.
Angie, who I work with in a duo during the week, professionally.
Yep.
We have a wonderful friendship. So I really knew I wanted her to be at the very end as well. And Mike Miller, who's he's actually the manager of the shop, and I've known him for a very long time.
Okay.
And he's just another fantastic guy that I really admire and love very much. And I said, I want you guys to make sure you're around for the end. And when we get to the last song, I really want to play Ziggy Stardust.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love that song. I thought this would be a good one to finish on. So I know that was the last one we did. I can't tell you much else of what we played before then.
Well, it's all written down. You can look over it sometime.
I can go back. I have actually got the book.
Yeah.
Every minute's been documented.
Yeah. Epic. I'm sure you'll publish that one day.
I'll be fantastic reading.
It will be.
I actually told Ange I'm going to give her the whole 125 hours as a Christmas present. 125 hours of video as a Christmas present.
Oh, that's great. Actually, she was there. Yeah. She was there on the Wednesday night too for a while anyway, and she's awesome, man. What a great singer.
She is a phenomenal singer. She's I know she's my friend and everything, but I'm so lucky to actually get to work with her. And be in the best seat in the house. She is a fantastic singer. And I've been fortunate enough to work with some great singers. And I think she's the best one I've ever actually worked with.
Mm-hmm.
Which is good for me.
Yeah, awesome. Very cool. Very cool. Well, man, congratulations on that record. What's the so you said the Guinness process can take a while. Do you have any idea of where that's up to, or
I have no idea.
Okay, so you just sort of wait for them.
And you know what? If someone else breaks it, good luck.
Yeah.
But I think I'll look out of it. And the important thing is that out of it, over $10,000 was raised for the charity.
Yeah, fantastic.
Which is fantastic. And there were so many other good things that happened with seeing the community that was built up out of the event. People coming in and meeting me that were there. There was an elderly lady that loved singing jazz standards, and she found out that I was there.
Mm-hmm.
So she popped in the first day and sat and listened for a little while. She said, "Do you think I could sing with you?" And I went, "You certainly can." I said, "Look, if if I don't know the song, I don't have time to try and learn it on the spot. So if you have sheet music for whatever you'd like to sing, you're more than welcome to just pop it on a stand, get someone to bring us a music stand over and put it on, and we'll just play it."
Yeah.
And so the next day she was back with a book of some jazz standards.
Great.
So we played songs like Blue Moon and Autumn Leaves and things like that, which was great. She came back in 4 times at lunch, which was really good.
Nice.
And there was, I think another really special moment. There was a girl that has Down syndrome that turned up.
Yeah.
Actually, on the Thursday night, she was there for a little while. I'd met her mum before that, and she came in. She's around 20 years old. She got up and she sang, as it was, Sweet Home Avalama.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and that was just beautiful.
That's lovely.
Things like that, seeing people coming in and, for me as a musician and as a person, seeing people come together and laugh and dance and smile and see new friendships formed and everything, that's been a real privilege as a musician to see that, on so many different levels. And sure. I think that week, that was just fantastic. For everything that music is and means to people, I think music as an agent for social change and doing a lot of good in the world is a really powerful thing. Yeah,
for sure.
And I very much believe that, in the power of music to make changes, to get people to consider things. It's great to have a laugh and have fun, and I think that's wonderful. And in and of itself, that's a terrific thing. But I think music can bring so much else apart from that as well. And I got to witness all of that during the week, which was just fantastic.
Yeah, awesome, man. Well done. And from from what I know of you from our brief meetings and what I've heard from others, it wasn't about you getting your name in the record book. It was about all these other reasons, especially the musicians making a difference. But all those other community sort of based reasons. So good on you, and more power to you, man.
Thank you. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Hey, can we? I know there's more to you than a guy who played guitar for 5 days and 5 hours non-stop. Can we do a little bit on that? When we jammed, you told me you studied at AIM with Chris Brooks, actually, who's been on this show as well. So
I've known Chris for a very long time.
Yeah, what got you into guitar in the first place?
Oh, look, I would say as a little kid, it would have been my mum's interest in music. Mum played piano.
Yeah.
And my grandfather played piano, and a lot of musicians in my family on my mum's side. As a little kid, I remember my mum playing Beatles and Cat Stevens records and things like that.
Yeah. Nice.
And the acoustic guitar, when I was about 5 or 6, the acoustic guitar was the thing that really captured my imagination when I was a little kid. I don't know why, but there was something about hearing that and going, "Oh, what's that?" And then because my mum loved the Beatles so much, I grew up listening to the Beatles, and hearing songs. Once again, the acoustic stuff that the Beatles did, like Yesterday or Hide Your Love Away and things like that. My mum would play those things when I was a little kid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I was going, "Oh, this sound," and so I was quite obsessed with the acoustic guitar as a kid, and even as a teenager. For a long time, I kind of felt that the acoustic guitar was the real instrument, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
A couple of other guys came along when I was a teenager as well, in the form of Joe Satriani and Stevie Ray Vaughan, which quickly changed all that.
Sure.
That's sort of where I started. It was just the sound of the acoustic that I really loved.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really know anything about it. I got a guitar when I was 6, and I used to, pretend that I was playing with Paul McCartney or whatever. And that's sort of where it started. And for a while, I was really interested in the guitar. I don't know how I got into guys like Bob Dylan, because he wasn't really, when I was a kid in the 80s, Dylan wasn't big with kids, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And same with Neil Young. Neil Young's acoustic stuff, that was another thing that I don't even know how I discovered it, but I found this record called Harvest, with songs like Old Man and Heart of Gold on it.
Yeah, cool.
And once again, the acoustic guitar and the harmonica, that stuff really grabbed. And being a kid in the 80s was a fantastic time for music, I think. And there were there was so much guitar and everything, and there were so many great Australian bands as well. So
great.
As I came into my, I guess into my really formative years with listening and everything, there was, bands like Midnight Oil, who I absolutely love, or the Hoodoo Gurus, a lot of great Australian bands. And then, as I said, Stevie Ray Vaughan, I think when I was about 13, I heard Stevie Ray Vaughan for the first time.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
That's amazing, And then my sister came home with a Cream record. And it was a live Cream thing. And I was like, White Room. I go, what's this? This song's incredible.
Yeah.
So that was kind of, the downhill slope into getting into electric guitar as well. For a long time, the guitar was just one thing I did. It was competing equally with a surfboard, cricket bat, and footy.
Okay.
And bashing around with my mates and things like that. So we had awful garage bands and everything else. But I never really thought I was going to go much further with than that. I never felt I could either. I used to be very, very shy as a kid. So I was reluctant to ever play in front of anyone. I remember one of the garage bands we had with some mates from school. If one of their mums ever walked in on the garage while we were playing, I would just go bright red and stop.
Okay.
So she knew if we were playing, she wasn't to ever open the door. She was lovely about it. But she knew that I would just go to pieces. I'd get so embarrassed. And then when I was 16, I actually broke my ankle playing footy at school, and I was on crutches for quite a while. It was a very bad break, and so I sort of started playing the guitar a lot more. I started playing when I was about 6, so I had a guitar for about 10 years by then anyway. But when I was I just sort of turned 16 and I broke my ankle, and then that was the beginning of the end, so to speak. I was on crutches for about 3 months with that break, and so I couldn't really do much. So I was playing guitar, 10, 12 hours on a Saturday and Sunday then, and then I started getting up early before school and playing after school and everything else, and I really became quite obsessed with it. And the other things that I used to compete for at the time sort of all dropped aside. And so, that's sort of where I really started getting quite interested in it. I still didn't expect to ever actually do anything with it beyond being able to play a little bit. As I said, I was very shy, and I used to doubt myself with everything. And I've really worked on myself to get past all those things. But sometimes I still find myself walking out on stage now going, well, what am I doing here? I don't know how to play. I can't remember any songs. I started taking it very, very seriously then.
Yeah.
And I'd had a couple of teachers, but the stuff that I was really interested in was very hard to find teachers that knew what I wanted to do as well.
Okay.
I'd met Tommy Emmanuel when I was 15.
Yeah. Wow.
Someone that, because Tommy was living in Sydney at the time, and because I had this love with acoustic guitar, especially, and I really liked finger picking styles, especially at that stage when I was a kid, and someone that I knew Tommy, so he said, okay, Tommy's playing at a pub in Epping on Saturday night. He said, just I'm going to pick you up and we're going to sneak you in, and you're going to meet Tommy. You'll watch. We'll get you set up. Just off the side of the stage. I'm going to sneak you in. I'm going to get you to meet Tommy. So we did that, which was wonderful. I met Tommy then, and that was a huge inspiration. Going, oh my goodness, how good is this? And I can only say from my parents, I probably found a Chet Atkins record that they'd had, which I really loved.
Okay, yeah, cool.
As a kid, once again. But then, seeing Tommy actually play that sort of stuff in front of me, that became a huge inspiration and challenge. I want to be able to do this. From there, I started discovering all these, these other players. And for whatever reason, my school actually got Guitar Player magazine, had a subscription to Guitar Player magazine in their library.
Perfect.
Which was fantastic.
So good.
So, it was great. So that's where I discovered players like B.B. King.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea who B.B. King was. It was just I saw this photo of this African American gentleman leaning back with a black Gibson, and I went, that just looks awesome. He must be a phenomenal player. It was very hard to get hold of music then. We have access to anything we want now. It was really hard to do that.
Yeah,
so I used to I'd look at these pictures in Guitar Player magazine in the school library and go, he must be amazing. I'll have to find out about him. So I'd take notes down. I'd write these guys' names down, and then there was another player that I discovered who was Larry Carlton. There was a story in Guitar Player magazine on Larry Carlton, and I was just looking and going, he looks like a really cool guy. I better find out about him. Just a photo of him playing something. I had no idea about Larry Carlton. I didn't know. Well, I had actually heard him play on probably quite a few tracks because of all his studio work at the time. But it was that. And then, there was a mention of this guy called Joe Satriani who'd released an album called Not of This Earth. Mm-hmm. And another kid at school actually bought the record, ordered it in especially as an import.
Wow.
I remember going around his place and listening to it going, it just expanded my mind. Wow, this is amazing. With that. And as I said, my sister finding Cream and bringing home this Cream record and listening to that, or Stevie Ray Vaughan being played on Triple M, and going, wow, what's this? So, that was really good. But, as I said, it was really hard to find a lot of the music I started chasing out. So I don't actually know how I discovered this, but there was a record shop in Paddington, which was a long way from where I lived. Because I grew up in high school. I was living in Pennant Hills,
Okay.
so Paddington wasn't just down the road.
No, not at all.
But I remember as a kid, I discovered there was a shop called Folkways in Paddington, and I went in there once, and I'd saved up money, and I went in and I bought all these different records. So I found all these, early acoustic blues artists. There was like the Robert Johnson sort of stuff that would be most well known for people if they're casual blues listener perhaps, but a bunch of other artists as well. So I got into guys like Big Bill Brunsey and things like that. And then it was really hard because I started buying all that stuff, and I bought some fingerstyle stuff like Chet Atkins, and there were folk players. Dave Van Ronk, I think, was one. Stefan Grossman, who'd done all these, how to play guitar records.
Yeah.
I started buying all that stuff, and from Stefan Grossman, I found out about players like Reverend Gary Davis and Mississippi John Hurt and all these players.
Yeah.
And some of it was great with I don't know if you've ever seen the Stefan Grossman books and records.
I remember his when you talk about guitar player, that totally resonates with me as well, because a lot of the players that you discovered, I discovered as well, and I knew about them well before I actually got to hear any of them. And then when you finally heard them, you had a little bit of a backstory sometimes. So I remember the Stefan Grossman, the ads in Guitar Player. There'd be ads for his tuition series or whatever it was. So again, I knew the name well before I actually heard him play.
Okay, yeah. So he had all these records that he used to have, and they came with transcriptions of the pieces. And he would analyze, notate performances out by these essentially blues players, acoustic blues players that he'd either studied with or knew personally.
Mm-hmm.
So I started learning a little bit about that. Then there was the whole Tommy and Chet thing, and with that sort of stuff, there was just nothing like we have now, where you can jump on the net and find a tab of something in 3 seconds. There was nothing like that. So I remember once again as a kid getting my first CD player, and I got Tommy's album. Is it Dare to Be Different? That's got Blue Moon on it. I can't remember. I haven't listened to it for a while.
I think it is on that record. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember putting it on and driving my family nuts because I don't know how many hours I listened to Blue Moon.
Yeah.
And I would sit there with the guitar and I just played it over and over and over. And I was like, I'm going to learn how to play this song. And eventually I did. Like, I worked out how to do it just by sitting there and listening to Blue Moon on repeat for who knows how long. Which my sister in particular hated it. Her bedroom was next to mine. And she would hear me put on something like Blue Moon and leave it on for hours at a time. I was trying to pick it out. I could hear that, there's a bass line and there's some chords and there's a melody, and I don't know how to put it all together. And is it 2 guitars? Is it 3 guitars playing there? I'm not sure. So eventually I worked out how to do it, and Tommy used to be on like Hey Hey at Saturday quite regularly and things like that.
Yeah.
So I'd actually get to see, I used to try and, record, if Tommy was on, I'd try and record it.
Yeah.
So that I could go, okay, I'm going to watch this. I don't know how many tapes I must have worn out. Like, Tommy's on tonight, and I'd play the thing over and over again, trying to work out what he was doing.
That's awesome.
So that sort of started giving me a little bit of an idea about fingerstyle technique as well. But it was very much hit and miss, and there were things that I'd work out how to play, and then as I've gone to see some of these players, or I've had the privilege of actually meeting some of them, and I've gone, oh, you're doing it so much easier the way you do it.
Yes.
Even I remember I've been privileged enough to meet Tommy on and off quite a few times over the years.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I've seen him. And I remember that, like, some of his pieces, I'd try and work out from listening to the thing over and over again. And then I remember once going to see him, and he's got a capo. Oh, man.
Oh, killer. But that is a really exciting part of the learning process that not everyone does these days, because as you said, the information is so much there. I mean, you don't even have to hunt for your record. You'll just Spotify it or whatever. So there's definitely something lost when when the information's handed too easily, I think.
Oh, yeah, I completely agree with that. I think uh, if I had the same hunger I had as a kid with the information that was available now, I think, wow, I'd probably be a much better player because I would have had so much. But I don't know if I would have had the same hunger either. If that makes sense.
Yeah, right. Yep.
Because I had to work so hard to try and find these things.
Yeah.
And having things like, the guitar. Do you remember the guitar player records they used to have?
Yeah, little flexi discs.
The little flexi things. Like some of that stuff, I'd get one of those things, and sometimes there'd be a great player on that, and I'd be trying to work out how to do whatever they had, and I'd be picking up the needle and dropping it back at the start and playing it over and over, and destroying that. And I don't know, I've probably wrecked a couple of record players, mum and dads as well, if truth be told. But trying to do that, it made me. I think it really benefited me as a player and as a person too, to be honest, because I had to be really determined to if I wanted to do it.
Yeah,
I had to be able to, focus and work hard and pay attention, and I think that really benefited me as a player as well.
Sure.
Because as I went on, I found I had to learn songs very quickly. I had to be able to focus. I had to be able to pick up stuff quickly and respond musically to things. And that, I think, taught me a lot about discipline and application. And I think, while I said, if all that information was available to me when I was a kid, maybe I'd know so much more, but maybe I wouldn't have followed through either because it would have just been handed to me.
Yeah.
So,
it's an interesting debate because there's lots of young players these days who are fantastic. So they're obviously working hard, but there's the other side of it. It's hard to measure from our generation. So it's an
I think that's very true. And there are some great young players around. Did you hear about the largest guitar playing ensemble?
Yeah, another record just got knocked over a few weeks after yours. Yeah, also in Sydney.
Yeah, I was actually part of that too.
Oh, awesome.
I went along for the day, so that was supporting the Australian Children's Music Foundation. Which was a fantastic day.
Excellent.
But they had the Sydney Junior Guitar Championships on for a few hours before that.
Yeah, I saw that the year before, actually. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I can't remember this boy's name. He looked about 6. Apparently he was 10.
Okay.
He had a Cole Clark Dreadnought.
Oh, man.
It looked like as big as him. And he came out and he played a Jerry Reed song.
Wow.
And I went, man, a 10-year-old kid playing Jerry Reed, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And he played so well. He played some Chet, he played some Jerry Reed, he played some Tommy stuff. He really had the whole thumb thing going. I went, that's terrific. Now, he's obviously put a lot of effort into that. Yeah. Which you need to do. Like, he's I hope he sticks with it. He's going to be a great player. So you do get kids like that just blow your mind and go, wow, they're so good. But, obviously they have to work at that too.
Yeah, sure.
Even if you have all the information presented to you, it doesn't mean you're going to follow through on it.
That's it.
I think ultimately, you've got to the way you apply yourself to learning and the dedication you show really is what gets you somewhere.
Yeah, 100%.
More than, I have way too many guitar videos and things like that, which I've purchased and never even looked at, if truth be told.
Sure.
I get emails all the time. Oh, this is on special, like from, TrueFire.
Oh, yeah, yep.
Like, they have some great things, but when they have their $5 specials, I'm a sucker for those. Oh, that looks really good. I'll buy that. Yeah. And then I might watch part of it and I just forget I've got it. So
for sure.
Yeah. I think that's the downside with having everything so freely available as well.
Yeah, sure.
It's very easy to get too much information.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's cool, man. That's cool. What's and what are you up to these days? So you're gigging. You've got your duo with Angie, and you're playing gigs. I see you do a bunch of product videos as well.
Yeah, I do that. So with Ange, we probably do about 150, 200 gigs a year.
Wow, that's awesome.
Which is cool. We just do cover stuff. I've tried going down the originals thing. And my great love is instrumental music as well, especially fingerstyle. Okay, as a player, that's probably the thing I'm best at. I think is the Tommy Emmanuel Chapman sort of stuff. And yeah, look, I started getting a bit of notice with that a while ago. Started sort of feeling I was getting somewhere.
Yeah.
And there were some really good people I got to open for and play with and everything else, which was good. And then some other stuff in life sort of came along. And I had some big stuff to deal with. So I lost my focus for a bit with all that. And it's also really hard. In Australia, I found at one stage, I used to play weddings almost every weekend, playing fingerstyle or classical guitar or things like that.
Yeah.
I used to play a lot of jazz and everything. It's very hard to play those sort of things anywhere now.
Yeah.
No one wants it. The clubs that I used to play around Sydney or beyond, playing fingerstyle. Forget that now. There's nowhere really to play that sort of thing, or it's very rare to find a venue that would even let me have a go at that.
Sure.
Which is disappointing. That's the way things have gone. I mostly we just play covers, and a lot of what we focus on is people having a really good time and enjoying music, and people coming together and having a laugh and a dance and a sing.
Yeah. And
I think that's one of the great things of music in and of itself too. I do that. I've done all sorts of gigs as a player, everything from doing the solo guitar thing for a backyard wedding to played in I don't know how many different tribute shows and bands and just working with singers, and done a lot of different studio things as well. I'm sort of one of those guys. I've never been a star, but I've always had constant work.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy with that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I've gotten to play with some great people and some names, but I'm just as happy playing with my mates, at the pub and having a good time too.
Yeah.
So I do. We do gigs, and I do some product videos too. There's a few independent, luthiers that I do some work for.
Okay.
Where they'll contact me and say, I've got a new guitar. Can you shoot a video for me?
Yeah, cool.
I want it for a product. So, which is a lot of fun. And that's actually how I also know Engadine Music. They'll call me when there's new pedals and things like that. Say, or guitar, can you do a video for us?
Oh, cool, man.
So and that's I really appreciate getting to do that sort of stuff too. It's a lot of fun.
Nice.
So that's kind of a lot of what I'm doing musically at the moment. I used to do some teaching, but I felt I needed to have a break from that.
Sure. I mean, if you're gigging as often as you are, that'll do it. Hey, that's your week.
Yeah. And look, to be honest, I absolutely love playing live. And I really don't mind too much what I play.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, I'm not precious about things.
Sure.
And I don't think you can afford to be if you want to play regularly.
If you want to make a living, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, there are things that I absolutely love about it, but about playing, and there are certain styles. I love, and I haven't done this for a long time, but I love 50s jazz with sort of, some of the bebop stuff and cool jazz from the Miles Davis stuff and things like that. And,
oh, yeah, cool.
I love playing that sort of stuff, or some of the stuff that Kenny Burrell was doing in the 50s. Absolutely love playing some of that stuff, and also some of the 60s soul jazz sort of thing with Cannibal Adderley and those sort of guys.
Oh,
I love
yeah.
that. But
yeah.
It's really hard to ever get to play that sort of stuff, and
sure.
That stuff's very special to me, and I will be precious about that if I do play it. If I do get a chance, it has to be done, to where I'm satisfied with it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't want to just do it badly. Like I remember filling in with a jazz band once, and the bass player, to be honest, the bass player had heard of walking bass lines, but really had no idea what they were.
Okay.
So he used to just play chromatically up and down the neck.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd be going, some of the songs I hadn't played before, and I was just trying to play by ear, and I'm going, I'm so lost. Because I've been listening to him. He actually had phenomenal rhythm.
Yeah.
His feel for playing swing was amazing. But it could be any note
just
at any
the note
stage.
choice, yeah.
And I'll go, how does this relate to what I think the chord should be? So things like that. Like I've seen a few guys that if I want to play jazz, I want to play with guys that will respect that sort of thing.
Yeah, sure, of course.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Rather than guys go, that's good enough. But with other things, I like to play well, but I really like the journey of playing with other people.
Yeah, cool.
And that's been the biggest thing, I think. I love playing all the different people I've got to play with. It's been fantastic. And I feel really, really privileged to have met so many people and play with so many people of all sort of, all levels and all manner of players. And I think because I decided I was going to have a go at making a living out of it, I've always thought, yeah, look, I'll just I'll fake it until I make it with some of these things. So some of the biggest gigs I've done have been in the country scene. I'm not a country player at all.
Okay.
But I've got, I can do that. No worries.
Yeah.
And there's enough with some of the country stuff sounds so much like 70s rock now anyway.
Sure.
I've gone, yeah, look, I can do that. No worries. And just sort of dial in a nice tone and pull out something that's like a telly type guitar and play it through a Vox, and you go, that's cool. Yeah, that's great. That works. And you can really just be like a blues rock player, and that's great. And that sort of worked. I remember I was playing actually at a country festival, and these really hardcore bluegrass guys invited me up on stage with them, and I was just all at sea. I was like, no, you don't want me up there. Oh man, no, get up with us. And they lived and breathed bluegrass.
Wow.
And I'd never really played anything bluegrass before. So I just sort of tried doing some cheesy cheesy Django Reinhardt licks and stuff like that to get around it.
Yeah.
Which I got through it, but I knew I was really faking that. But yeah, other things I've gone, I can do that, and then I've just locked myself in my room and practice so I can get something that's at least approaching what they want.
Sure.
With the country rock stuff or something. Playing sort of more traditional country. I've worked at that to the point where I go, yeah, look, I can get that, and I think I know the instrument well enough, and I know enough about different guitar tones to know how to pull up a sound that most people go, yeah, you're playing that song and you're playing that style. And I think that's a big part of being a versatile musician. Is knowing your instrument well enough that you can slot in with anything, because it's all just patterns and and notes at the end of the day, really.
Yeah.
It's how you apply those things that makes a big difference.
Yep.
And for sorry.
I was going to say, just 100%. Yeah, as a working guitar player, you're gonna take the gigs and you're gonna throw yourself in there. And if you love guitar, which you obviously do, you're gonna try a lot of this stuff anyway, and just bring your experience to different venues and different opportunities.
Yeah, and there's been I think with all of that, there's been some great guys that I've met that I never would have played with otherwise, or never would have even met. And beyond music, they're just wonderful people, which is a great thing too. And that's a big part of playing music for me, is actually the journey you go on with other people.
Yeah, yep, awesome.
I think that's really special. And I think that's one of the things that I love about playing jazz, when it's right, that you're playing a piece of music that you will never play again, and you're having this experience with other people that you'll never have again when you're improvising, obviously. And it can just be completely magical, in that you're doing this once and that's it. And if you have a real connection with those people and the friends as well, that makes it even better. That's one of the things I love with that.
For sure, man. Yep.
Yeah.
Very cool. Man, Scott, it's been awesome to talk through this. Not only the record, although that was so fascinating to get a behind-the-scenes look at that, but also, just yourself as a musician, and a great one at that. So, man, thank you so much for your time today. It's been really cool.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it.
No, cheers, man. Thank you.
Thank you, man. That's great.
What's the best way for people to catch up with your gigs and all that kind of stuff?
Oh, probably our Facebook page.
Yeah.
The duo's called Ange and the Doctor. I didn't name it. There's a story with that.
Okay.
I'm the second Doctor.
Okay.
It was just easier for her to keep the name going. So,
yeah, right.
We have a Facebook page. It's probably the easiest thing.
Okay,
with
cool.
That. Yeah. And yeah, if people are looking for gear demos or anything, they can just message me through there too.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So that's probably the easiest thing.
Okay.
I've tried having a website, but
man, they're a lot of work to keep up to date.
Oh yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Facebook's just easy.
yeah, man. I'm with you.
And everyone's on Facebook, so
cool.
Yeah.
All right, that's awesome, man. Well, Scott Burford, thank you again, and all the best.
Thank you very much, man.
All right, there you go, Scotty Burford. So good to meet him and talk through both the world record tilt and also his own gigs and things. And we'll keep an eye out for the Guinness verification process. And once we hear anything, we'll certainly let you know how that goes on the podcast. Also, we'll put up links for Musicians Making a Difference, Double MAD. That's the charity that Scotty was raising money for, over 10K's worth, which is an incredible effort, plus all the awareness that he would bring to that organisation too, which is really cool. Also put up links to Scotty's Facebook stuff so you can check him out there. All right, thank you so much for joining me on the Guitar Speak podcast. Remember, you can subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts or Stitcher Radio or pretty much most other podcast subscription services these days. We are on Instagram and Facebook, and you can check us out on guitarspeakpodcast.libsyn.com. You can get to all of our episodes there as well. All right, my name is Matt Wakeling. You've been listening to the Guitar Speak podcast, and we'll catch you next time. Bye now.